view. Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view, and don't despair. We will do this together, and we'll get it together, and we'll work it out together. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
Officials are investigating a fire in Westfield last night that left one person dead. Good afternoon, I'm Susan Farley. Candidates hoping to be the next governor gathered in Newport last night. A Maine's 72-hour waiting period to purchase a firearm remains in effect. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories coming up. First, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Hey Susan, happy Friday afternoon. A small craft advisory has been extended until 8 p.m. for your Saturday along the coast. We're still monitoring some active surf across the region. But for now, we're not looking too bad, at least on land. Just some clouds passing through intermittently, more clouds across parts of Canada at this moment in time. So let's zoom things out right now. We're seeing some more activity across the western parts of the Midwest. At least well off toward our west, actually, but it's the Midwest where we are seeing that activity. We'll have more in our neck of the woods coming up soon. But for now, we are dry. There's that precipitation we are going to be watching that moves in later on tonight in the form of rain, maybe a little bit of snow farther off towards the north and west, but we'll see some clouds as we head towards your Saturday. Some gusty winds up to 25 to 30 miles per hour today. Backs off a little bit later on tonight, but we'll have more wind on the way up to 30 miles per hour for your Saturday. All right, for today, partly cloudy and breezy, upper 50s for the high, south wind at around 20 miles per hour. Tonight, mostly cloudy, rain showers, upper 30s for the low, and a light and variable wind. Hourly forecast moving forward, we have those clouds out there and sunshine, temperatures in the 50s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Susan?
Thank you, Devin. Everyone is safe following a bad house fire in Jonesboro. It was late Thursday afternoon when crews were called to a home across from the Jonesboro Grange on Harrington Road. Jensessa Rizzi posted on social media that it was her mother's home. She says her mom had gone to a store and something exploded while she was away. Firefighters worked quickly to snuff out the flames and were on the scene well into the evening. A cause for the fire is unknown at this time. Firefighters also battled a raging house fire in the Aroostook County town of Westfield. This is video of the fire taken by onlookers and posted to social media. The State Fire Marshal's office says the fire at 1197 Holton Road started just after 3:30 p.m. When firefighters arrived, they found heavy fire conditions. Family members at the scene indicated a person was likely trapped inside. Firefighters remained on the scene and into the evening conducting an extensive search for the person. A deceased male was located within the structure. He was taken to the medical examiner's office where an autopsy will be conducted and a positive identification can be made. Investigators say information from witnesses suggests the fire may have started in the barn area. However, the official cause remains under investigation. The Maine legislature raced to pass a supplemental budget before the session comes to a close next week. The current proposal is more than $500,000. It includes a 2% tax on Mainers who make more than $1 million and a $300 direct relief payment to more than 500,000 Mainers. They were back in session Thursday working to formally enact the measure. Meanwhile, the Senate continued to work toward the initial vote with support sharply divided along party lines in both chambers.
The budget has mostly good things. I understand people have complaints about certain things, but it fully funds the public schools, continues a free education, community college education. It fully funds health care and raises reimbursement rates for hospitals and providers.
I think, frankly, it's an embarrassment, and I think we saw that in some of the amendments that were offered in the Senate, that there's a lot of concern across the spectrum in a cross-partisan way about the budget and its insufficiency and deficiencies in dealing with the issues that real Maine people are dealing with.
After a lengthy debate, the Senate passed the budget. The final vote was 18 in favor and 16 opposed. The governor will sign it in Bangor today. The Maine House of Representatives voted yesterday to table a potential repeal of the 72-hour waiting period currently in effect for those purchasing a firearm. The resolve narrowly passed in the House by a vote of 77 to 70 and will now move on to the Senate. Right now, a gun seller must wait 72 hours before they can deliver a purchased firearm to a buyer. That waiting period was first instituted by legislation passed 2 years ago following the Lewiston mass shooting. Before the vote, some lawmakers cited research that said suicide is often an impulsive act committed during a crisis and called the waiting period essential to prevent suicide by reducing immediate access to lethal means. Others said the rights of a gun owner should prevail.
The majority of people who attempt suicide and who are rescued do not go on again to kill themselves. But those folks who get their hands on a gun rarely have that second chance.
Maine's Constitution doesn't leave room for delay, doubt, or discretionary impositions, yet a mandatory waiting period does precisely that. It questions and obstructs the right of Mainers to exercise their fundamental constitutional freedom.
The law requiring the waiting period had been challenged via the court system as unconstitutional. Last year, a federal judge in Maine blocked enforcement of the law. But in the last week, a 3-judge federal appeals court panel overturned that ruling, saying the waiting period was likely constitutional. With the vote yesterday, the state legislature will wait for the current litigation to play out in court before moving on a potential repeal. Candidates hoping to be the next governor gathered in Newport last night as the Newport Economic Development Committee hosted a gubernatorial debate. Despite organizers saying all candidates were invited, the field was primarily made up of Republicans. One notable absence was Senator Jim Libby, who announced earlier he is withdrawing from the race. During the debate, candidates were asked about some of Maine's most pressing issues, including health care and affordability. Organizers say last night's event was part of their mission to make politics more accessible to folks in more rural communities.
Decided to host this in Newport because in Newport we really service 8 other different towns as far as Heartland, Etna, Dixmont, different things like that, and Newport's kind of the hub of where stuff is. And now more than ever, this is such an important election cycle that we need to have candidates here right from the people in their constituents around the parts of the state.
The Newport Economic Development Committee is hosting a similar debate with candidates running for Senate next Thursday at 6 o'clock at the Newport Rec Center. Thursday at Bath Ironworks, Senator Susan Collins spoke about the Iran conflict, calling the ceasefire messy, but saying she thinks there will be better talks this weekend. Senator Collins and Senator Angus King both spoke at Bath Ironworks. They're calling on the Trump administration to add more DDG-51 destroyers to its budget, saying the U.S. needs to keep pace with China's growing fleet. They both also talked about where they stand on the war in Iran.
My hope has always been that this would be a brief but successful conflict that would eliminate the ballistic missiles that Iran uses as a shield for its nuclear enrichment.
I think the war was illegal from the start. The president has an inherent power to defend the country in a case of an imminent threat. There was no imminent threat from Iran. Iran has been threatening for 47 years, but there was nothing to precipitate the level of contact that ensued after Israel and the United States entered into the bombing campaign.
The University of Maine Faculty Senate is raising concerns about the, quote, lack of direction and strategic plan for the University of Maine, end quote. It was all detailed in a letter we have obtained sent by the Faculty Senate to the University President, Chancellor, and Board of Trustees. Our Grace Blanchard has the details.
An 8-page letter titled A Letter from Faculty Senate on Leading the University into the Future was sent to UMaine President Joan Farini-Mundy, UMS Chancellor Daniel Malloy, and the UMS Board of Trustees. In the letter, the Faculty Senate levels criticisms against the university's leadership, fiscal responsibility, and transparency. The Senate wrote that they believe the university is poorly prepared to face the challenges ahead and is lacking a clear strategic vision.
Not having clear direction, clear strategy it makes it very difficult for faculty to organize their work and to focus on their priorities.
Recently appointed Faculty Senate President Henry Okono says their concerns highlight a more serious issue of disconnect between administrative leadership and faculty, which he says has contributed to low faculty morale.
If faculty have low morale, it's hard for them to teach the way they are supposed to. It's hard for them to do research at a level that is expected of each one of us.
According to Okono, the Faculty Senate met with administration on April 7th in an executive session where they discussed the contents of the letter. He says they are giving the administration more time to address the concerns.
One of the things that we're focusing on moving forward is some of our shared interest in bringing UMaine into the future, making sure that it's strong, making sure that we're serving our students and the state and our constituents to the best that we can.
The Faculty Senate has also requested that President Farini Mundy make a statement about the letter during their upcoming meeting on April 15th.
We intend to work together to find solutions to this problem. We all believe UMaine is a great university.
Grace Blanchard reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
We have received a response from a spokesperson for the University of Maine system who says UMaine and UMS value shared governance and take its faculty feedback seriously. Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, the Artemis space mission is set to end tonight. We've got details when we return.
Don't take a tiny check for your car wreck. Call the twos.
I got a client who injured their shoulder a big check for $275,000. Hurt in a car accident? I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
With over 30 years of experience, Patriot General Contractors knows how to get your home renovation project done right. Our certified contractors can help you build, redesign, or finish the project of your dreams. Check out Facebook page for reviews and visit patriotgeneralcontractors.com to schedule your quote today. Patriot General Contractors, redesigning your properties for the future.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
Keep your feet on the ground, they said. So many people have told you you can't. They say you don't listen. So you don't listen to them. You rise to your moment. It feels like every idea is crystal clear. It feels like every line, every angle is perfect. It feels like you are at the top of your game. And with Fidium Fiber Internet, you are.
It feels like Fidium.
This is your post saying the Balder is missing.
No.
What do you mean, no?
I didn't post any missing.
Ma'am, it's on. You gave it to me.
Hot Bench. Friday at 3 on ABC 7.
I found the University Studies program, and the people were fantastic, and they helped me understand how I could really pretty easily become part of UMaine, become part of that program, and showed me that within about 2 years, I could have my degree. What I like about being able to study anywhere is probably this. I can literally be outside on the deck. I can be in my house. I can be in another country doing my schoolwork, and it just works really well for my for the life that I have.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
The Artemis II mission is set to return to Earth in just a few hours. They left 10 days ago, making history with a flyby of the moon and traveling hundreds of thousands of miles through space. Now the spacecraft is expected to splash down in the Pacific Ocean this evening. ABC's Armando Garcia has more on what we can expect.
10 days after their historic launch and liftoff, a 695,000-mile journey coming to a close. The Artemis II crew expected to splash down in the Pacific Ocean tonight after a harrowing ride home through the Earth's atmosphere.
This is one of the most dangerous parts of the mission, the other one being the launch itself.
The astronauts on board making their final preparations.
We were asked, what are we looking forward to? And I said, splashdown. And it's kind of humorous, but it's literal as well, that we have to get back.
The Orion spacecraft will hit Earth's atmosphere at 24,000 miles per hour, nearly 400,000 feet above the ocean. The craft's heat shield protecting the astronauts on board from temperatures of up to 5,000 degrees. And during the worst of the heat, a planned communications blackout. Mission Control will not be able to speak with the crew or hear from them.
Man, I'm going to tell you, it's 13 minutes of things that have to go right. It's more, in my head, about an hour and a half of things that have to go right.
A recovery team will be in place to receive the crew as parachutes help them land in the water. 2 helicopters will hoist the astronauts up and bring them to a ship for medical evaluation before they board an aircraft to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. Once there, they'll finally reunite with loved ones.
What we really hoped in our soul is that we could, for just a moment, have the world pause and remember that this is a beautiful planet in a very special place in our universe, and we should all cherish what we have been gifted.
And after splashdown, NASA scientists will be dissecting information learned from this out-of-the-world mission to expand long-term exploration of the moon and beyond. Armando Garcia, ABC News, New York.
Less than a week in, the U.S. ceasefire with Iran is already on thin ice. The vice president will take part in negotiations this weekend, and today's inflation numbers are likely a factor as the White House seeks a more permanent end to the war. Correspondent Rebecca Castor reports.
Vice President J.D. Vance departing this morning for Pakistan ahead of high-level talks this weekend between U.S. and Iranian officials.
If the Iranians are willing to negotiate in good faith, we're certainly willing to extend the open hand.
The meeting comes as the fragile truce is at risk of falling apart.
If they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive.
Israel's continued bombing of Hezbollah targets in Lebanon is a key sticking point. Wednesday was the deadliest day yet, with more than 300 people killed, according to the country's health ministry. Negotiations between Israel and Lebanon are set to take place next week in Washington. Until then, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the strikes will continue.
There is no ceasefire in Lebanon.
Meanwhile, President Trump is unhappy with Iran's chokehold over the Strait of Hormuz, as Iran maintains it will continue to control who gets to pass through moving forward. The month-long blockade driving up the latest inflation numbers, which saw their biggest increase in 4 years.
It will take months for oil, gasoline, diesel, and other commodity prices to get back to the pre-war levels.
And you go to the store and you can't buy it, afford to buy what you used to buy.
The war's economic impact here at home is weighing on the minds of White House officials ahead of this weekend's talks. President Trump insists gas prices will plunge shortly after the war is over. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Heating oil prices aren't showing any signs of dropping soon. The Maine Department of Energy Resources' latest weekly survey shows the average statewide price was $5.43 a gallon on April 6. That's a 42% increase since the Iran war began. According to the department, Maine consumes more residential heating oil per capita than any other U.S. state and consumes significantly more per capita than any other New England state. Approximately 50% of all Maine households rely on fuel oil as their primary heat source, although that figure has declined from 70% in 2010. Financial assistance for home heating is still available through the Home Energy Assistance Program administered by Maine Housing. After the break, the city of Ellsworth is launching a project to create more housing downtown. We'll tell you about it when we come back.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
We can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
that's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Jamar Construction Products in Bangor continues to grow to meet our customers' needs, supplying products for site work contractors, concrete contractors, and survey and safety supplies. We are proud to be the local dealer for Hilti, Valley Blades, U.S. Fabrics, and Euclid Chemical, plus so much more. Stop by and see us at 1270 Hammond Street, or give us a call at 907-4491. If you dig it, pour it, plow it, fasten it, lay it, or lift it, Jamar Construction Products can help you.
This spring, invest in your nest with the County Federal Credit Union. Your home has grown in value season after season. With the county's 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, you can borrow up to your credit limit over 10 years with interest-only payments over those 10 years. 10-10. And then you can stop and smell the roses, soak up the sun, and invest in your nest. The 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, the County Federal Credit Union, countyfcu.org.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
I have a question for you. When it comes to French onion soup, what's your favorite part? The rich oniony broth? Or that cheesy topping with the bread that soaks up all that oniony goodness? Well, we asked around, and the cheesy topping won hands down. So with that in mind, we came up with something that we call French onion bake, which is the best part of the onion soup in the form of a side dish. We start by cutting a French bread into thick slices and baking them off until they're golden. Once they are, we put half of them in a baking dish and sprinkle them with some shredded Swiss cheese. On top of that goes another layer of bread, and we pour some onion soup over it. This is looking good already. And just like traditional onion soup, we finish it off with more cheese. All that's left to do is bake it off until the cheese is golden and the bread soaks up all that broth. I'll tell you, once it comes out of the oven, all ooey and gooey, everyone's gonna be singing your praises. So what are you waiting for? Go online and check out what we call French onion bake, so you can enjoy the best part of the onion soup in a totally new way. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we've discovered a cheesier way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Maine broadcaster George Hale, who was recently taken off the air, was recognized for his expansive career by the Maine legislature.
We all know what a magical medium radio is, and it was made better for your presence. With that, the chair is pleased to recognize in the rear of our chamber George Hale, Sue Pat, and Joe Pat from the town of Orrington. They are the guests today of the senator from Penobscot, Senator Hagan, and the entire Maine State Senate. Would George please rise and accept our greetings?
Weeks ago, we spoke to Hale, who was 93, by telephone while he was vacationing in Florida. He confirmed to us that Blueberry Broadcasting said they were making changes to the George Hale, Rick Tyler show, and he had been told he would no longer be a part of it. Thursday, Hale was lauded for hosting that show for more than 2 decades, as well as countless other aspects of his iconic tenure.
George, I'm so happy to be able to wish you well. You were kind of the voice of my childhood. I loved to listen to sports on the radio, and your voice was always there. The tone of your voice is the sound of basketball to me.
We all love him. We all appreciate him very, very much. He's a great man, deserves all the honors in the world, and we love you, and just wanted to thank you for all that you've done. Thank you.
One lawmaker mentioned that Hale is slated to be the Grand Marshal at this year's 4th of July parade in Bangor. When we return, Devin Biggs has your 5-day forecast.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Acorn Stairlifts has the solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stairlift, the world's leader in stairlifts. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stairlifts now for a free information kit and no obligation quote. Why risk falling when you can safely ride?
Our Acorn Stairlift is definitely more affordable than moving.
The Acorn Stairlift has a padded seat and backrest. Safety sensors stop the chair if there are obstacles. The seat swivels and locks so you don't twist your body. And the Acorn Stairlift folds away. It even runs during power outages.
I was really surprised at how little it cost.
Call 1-800-732-2971 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That's 1-800-732-2971.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
We all want to know what kind of weather to expect this weekend. Let's check in with Devin Biggs. Devin?
Alrighty, Susan, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. A small craft advisory up until 8 p.m. for your Saturday. Along the coast, still some active surf that we are keeping an eye on at this moment in time. Alrighty, so 3 to 4 foot wave heights being observed, at least along the coastline, a little bit higher further out towards sea, 3 to 6 foot wave heights further off towards the south and east. Here's what we got on land, just a few passing clouds, some more energy to the north and west. It's the Midwest where we are seeing some more energy. This will bring us some rain, a little bit of snow possible in some areas later on. So here's what we got. Just some clouds possible later on this afternoon. Some more rain developing later on tonight. Some snow to the north and west as we head towards early Saturday morning. We'll lose the precipitation through Saturday. And then by Saturday night, not looking too bad as things break up. And then once we head towards your Sunday, looking very nice as we do remain rather clear. But at this moment in time, precipitation looks a little bit like this, around 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rainfall. And then we'll add a little bit more as we head towards next week too. So in all, between now and through parts of next week, we could be seeing around 1 inch or so of rainfall. So a good amount expected. But overall, we could use the rainfall to moderate to severe drought still exists across the entire state. So it's been rather dry lately. So this rainfall expected over the next several days will definitely be welcome. But otherwise, a good part of the U.S. still dealing with some kind of drought across the southeastern U.S. and even further off towards still the southern U.S., western U.S. We could use the rainfall in those spots too. So for today, upper 50s, partly cloudy and breezy, south wind at around 20 miles per hour. Rain showers move in tonight, otherwise mostly cloudy, upper 30s for the low, light and variable wind. Tomorrow, low 50s, morning rain, then partly cloudy, northwest wind at around 30 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center with a mostly sunny sky for your Sunday with highs in the mid-50s. Rain showers Monday with highs in the low 60s, mid-60s Tuesday under a partly cloudy sky.
Thank you, Devin. The Heart of Ellsworth has launched a downtown housing opportunity project. They say the project is aimed at increasing housing availability, activating underutilized spaces, and supporting long-term economic vitality. In addition to identifying housing opportunities, they say the project will strengthen the city of Ellsworth and Heart of Ellsworth's ability to attract developers, investors, and new businesses by providing clear, accessible data about downtown properties and development opportunities. Ellsworth Economic Development Director Twyla Fisher says, quote, "One of the biggest opportunities we have in Ellsworth is within our existing buildings. This project will help us identify underutilized and upper floor spaces and turn that knowledge into actionable strategies that support both housing and growth." On Hawaii's Big Island, the Kilauea volcano continues to erupt. A tower of lava could be seen shooting up inside the volcano Thursday. Since December, the volcano has experienced dozens of eruptions. The U.S. Geological Survey captured the latest video and reported the volcano spurred lava for more than 8 hours. And before we go, due to Artemis II Coming Home special on ABC, Jeopardy will air tonight on Fox 22 at 7:30 p.m. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6. Have a great weekend.
Every year, communities recognize outstanding service with the Spirit of America Foundation Tribute. Do you know a local person or group that goes above and beyond for others? Nominate them today by contacting a select person, city or town councilor. Help honor those who make a difference where you live. For more information, visit spiritofamerica.website.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
The following program is a paid commercial.